Well, I don't have the figures on how many billions have been spent. What I know is that our military budget, including the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan and Pakistan, are way over 50% of our budget. They're like between.
Did you say
50
50% over budget?
No, they're more than 50% of our
the budget.
total budget.
Oh.
Just going to military, and that does not include Homeland Security. It does include, law enforcement. It does not include any of those things. Just military, and of course we don't know how much the secret budget of the CIA might be. So in terms of money, this is like most of the majority of our national treasure is going to these wars, is going to maintaining military dominance over the world, which it's very questionable whether that military dominance really benefits us. It may benefit large corporations, multinational corporations, but does it benefit the average American citizen? If you compare the quality of life to, say, the quality of life in Canada or France or Sweden, the quality of life in those countries for the average citizen is probably better than here.
A lot better.
The streets are cleaner, the crime rate is lower, they have universal health care, they have a full spectrum
education
of social services,
in some cases.
fully funded education. Quality of life is better, and yet they're not world empires. So being a world empire, I would say, might benefit the rich, but it's really a detriment to the majority of the people.
Exactly.
Well, I would add to that Congress has approved nearly $1 trillion for expenditures in Iraq and Afghanistan. Now that's just straight checks they've written. If you take into account the interest on that money that we're borrowing from China to wage these wars, if you take into account the Veterans Administration bills for all these disabled vets we're producing, these disability payments that will continue for the next 60 years in some cases for thousands of dollars a month per person, and so on, you're looking at $1 billion actually becomes $2.4 billion that we've spent so far. If you look at the projections...
Is that billion or trillion?
Well, trillion, yeah, of course.
Trillion.
I just made a mistake of
yes.
99%. It's easy to do, because this is all funny money.
I know.
$1 billion, $1 trillion. How do you even keep track of that?
Well, the New York Times reported many years ago, but it stuck in my brain like glue, that if you want to have some idea what a billion is, about 1 billion minutes ago, Jesus was still walking the planet Earth, okay?
Right, 1 trillion minutes ago, we're probably looking at dinosaurs, I figure.
I guess. Yeah. It's unbelievable sum of money. Well, I'm going to take this moment to invite our viewers to call in with any questions they might have of Jeff Wong. I got you mixed up. Michael Wong and Jeff Paterson. And the number is 415-621-4473. 621-4473. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about returning vets and what they face.
Well,
especially the injured.
We know the Veterans Administration was overworked before we even began the Iraq War. We have additionally funded the VA for 2, 3, maybe 4%, but we've doubled their workload in the process. We have tens of thousands of amputees. We have hundreds of thousands of returning soldiers with post-traumatic stress disorder. We have tens of thousands of soldiers with traumatic brain injuries, and this is part of that cost that's going to continue on for the next 60 years. You're talking about 19, 20-year-old individuals, men and women, this time around. And this is just part of the cost. The other part of the cost...
Excuse me, Jeff, we do have a call.
I saw the light.
All right. Hello? Hello? Can you get it? Is anybody on the air? I think somehow we lost it. Okay, maybe they'll call back.
Well, and then one thing I just wanted to add is there's the human cost of the medical issues going on, but a lot of people we're talking to at Courage to Resist are feeling betrayed by the military. They've already deployed to Iraq once, twice, or 3 times, and now they're being ordered to go to Afghanistan. And this is they're saying, I simply can't do it anymore. We're talking to people that when their son or daughter actually dies while they're deployed, they can't get leave to go to that funeral, and then often that's the breaking point for them.
Right. I think the caller tried to call back. Hello? Hello? Is there something wrong? Or they just hung up? They hung up. Okay. Oh, well. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm a social worker, and as a social worker, I talk to other social workers, and I have social worker contacts in the VA that I talk to, and what they tell me is that people in the VA are personally very committed to doing all they can for the veterans, and personally working very, very hard, but they're being faced with an overwhelming workload as a whole new generation of veterans come in, and the funding to the VA has not been ramped up according to the amount of new intake that the VA has to deal with. And as a result, people are falling through the cracks. People who go to the VA for counseling, there's been a number of instances where they did not get counseling in time, they committed suicide.
I heard the suicide rate is sky high.
Yes.
Among soldiers.
It's the highest since Vietnam.
Yeah. So if we really want to take care of the troops, if we believe in the saying, support the troops, which the pro-war people keep pushing on us over and over again, if we want to support the troops, we need to greatly increase the funding to the VA and to other veteran services.
Right, and I understand that the, I don't remember the year, but there was a scandal with Walter Reed Hospital, and it was discovered that it was just a horror chamber. Do you have some information on that?
Yes, and if you read the reports, and you look at the movie, there was a movie by Oliver Stone years ago about the Vietnam War called Born on the 4th of July, which are the true stories of a Vietnam veteran, both in Vietnam and after he came home. And one of the scenes in that movie is where he's at the VA, and he's under these horrible conditions where they're understaffed, the place is dirty, there's just, people are getting sick, equipment is malfunctioning, people's lives are at risk. You look at the scene in that movie and you read the reports that came out of Walter Reed during this war, and what you see is that nothing has changed. Those problems have been there for more than a generation, and nobody's done anything about them.
Yeah, well, that doesn't surprise me because I've been in some of